that's the wrong shot.
He's the voiceover studio engineer of The Stars in Los Angeles, California, a Virginia Tech grad with a knowledge of recording studios unmatched in his field. He's a voice actor from Buffalo, New York, with 30 years experience in recording studios and behind the mic. He solves people's home voiceover studio problems in the blink of an eye. Together, there's no studio problem they can't solve, and they'll do it for you tonight. Welcome to East West Audio Body Shop. Now, live from a basement in Buffalo and an office in L.A., here are Dan Leonard and George Whittam.
We're on. We're live.
Well, great. We're live. Hi, I'm Dan Leonard in the East.
I'm George Whittam in the West.
And together we are East West Audio Body Shop. Well, it's another week, and I find myself back on the other side of the continent. And what a fascinating day it was. We've got a great guest tonight. We have Dan Friedman coming on just a little while, and sitting next to George there is our good friend, and I hope he's feeling better, is John Taylor. Good evening, John.
Good evening, Dan. How are things on this wonderful, warm Emmy night?
It is a warm Emmy night, and I'm in a great mood today. The Bills win. They were behind 18 points at halftime, came back and beat the Raiders. So I'm in a good mood. Yeah,
we live in Los Angeles. We don't care about football.
I know, and it shows. It was interesting because I was because I haven't told who our extra special guest. I'll tell you who our special guest is in a minute. But I was at the end of the third quarter. My cell phone rings because I'm one of those people that actually has a landline, and I'm like, this area code 545. Anyone know where 545 is? I'm like, what the heck
Not a clue.
Yeah, Iowa. It was a producer in Iowa. He says, "Yeah, I saw your profile on Voice 123, and I need you to do this thing." And I'm like, "Fabulous!" But you're gonna have to wait till the end of the game.
Nice.
So
Priorities.
he was out. Yes. When do you need this by? And he starts laughing. Oh, you needed it Friday afternoon, didn't you? So, there's something in there. But anyway. But I got it done for him and still had a chance to call my mother beforehand, and he was happy, and life is good.
That's all that matters.
It is. And I'd like to thank everybody for all your well wishes last week, too, after my stepfather, Hank, passed away. But it turned out to be a very interesting weekend, actually. But most of all, it was great hanging out with you, George.
That was really fun. I mean, we got to spend a good bit of time together on Saturday before our normal show day. And we hung around, had some very leisurely lunch, and
it was so California.
It was, man. Hey, you guys want to be waited on?
I got a 5-picture deal and an option on my screenplay, so I really don't have to wait tables, so you're really not going to get good service.
Yeah, but this was in Santa Monica, so it was like, you want to go surfing, dude?
Oh, yeah, so then it was like...
Exactly.
You want something to eat?
As
I'm hungry.
As opposed to Hollywood, where it's,
Yeah.
you guys want one too.
Or, yeah. Or...
Not that I know from personal experience. But anyway, John, you're with us tonight, and we have another great guest coming up at 9:30 Eastern Time, 6:30 for you, those of you out in La La Land. Dan Friedman's going to be with us, and Dan, of course, is an engineer who wrote a great book called Sound Advice Voiceover from an Audio Engineer's Perspective.
Yeah.
So, one of my main rivals. No, he'll be with us tonight, and he'll be talking about his book and a little bit about himself and some of the weird stuff that he's done during his career, and maybe help answer a couple of questions. Now, George, what's the phone number if people want to call in and give us a question during the week so we can answer it?
It's 818-47-EWABS.
That number again?
818-47-EWABS.
Operators are standing by now.
And the number in New Jersey is...
And if you're dialing from a smartphone and you're going, I hate those freaking numbers where you don't know what the numbers and letters are because your smartphone doesn't actually have those numbers on it.
He's now diagramming them out on a pad of paper.
So
that's right.
It is 818-47.
47.
Let's see. E would be...
Do you want to look at a phone dial pad so that
E
you
would
can
be
translate this?
A, B, C, D, E. 2, W would be 9.
You want to make sure?
Let's see here. We're doing okay on time. Anyway.
39227. Does that sound right, everybody? Hey,
No,
listeners.
look at
try
a
it,
phone
see if
pad.
it works.
Crowds. I don't have a phone. Do you see a phone in this house?
No, I don't. Do you? We're lucky we have a toilet in this house. But for people that don't use a phone, if you'd like to do it in Morse code on your telegraph, it's ... dash. I actually had somebody text me Morse code the other day.
Do you know Morse code?
No, I don't. So I was like,
that's awfully frustrating.
I had to go to Wikipedia to look at the international Morse code, and it was like, "Hi, John, how are you?" It was like, "You."
I believe this is the number, ladies and gentlemen.
Try it now. And if an
See if it
annoyed
works.
person says, "This isn't EWAPS, leave me alone."
And if you're wondering why the number is
Hello.
hey,
Oh, there
hello.
somebody's calling it already.
All right.
Is that the phone, or is somebody coming through the gift shop?
Yeah, it's someone coming to the gift shop right now.
Is that your phone? Honestly?
No, it's a dollar store doorbell.
Oh,
Actually, sounds
really?
more like
You
It's
overpaid.
a showstopper.
Yeah, what I get out of that is, please wait till the door is open to exit the bus.
Yeah.
Please stand clear of the doors.
So that's
Say
your
it in-
doorbell?
Say it in Spanish.
It's
I just got this at the 99-cent store. It's a doorbell.
you overpaid.
I got it for Ella.
Oh, well, that is the thing that you want to get your 4-year-old. Something
Yeah.
that makes
Lots of
annoying
noise.
noise.
My wife loves it.
Yeah.
My wife loves it.
I'll bet.
Can you take the batteries out of
We
that now?
could do the whole show of what kind of crap is on George's desk this evening.
George's desk is it's like a groaning board of it's a cornucopia of technological
It's
doohickeys.
a disaster. I know from personal experience.
I
What
have
is
a
that?
handheld gyroscopic mouse, so you can do mousing in your armchair like that. That's pretty cool.
It's not that cool. It's okay.
I have
Hit me with something really cool.
a hard drive.
A hard drive. Great. What's on
Let's
it?
see.
It's Pamela Anderson's hard drive.
I have a
got the new
original
sex tape.
Leatherman.
The original Leatherman.
Yeah, this is the old school one.
I thought it was the guy from Village People.
I have Bluetooth behind the head headsets.
Ooh,
Actually, these are pretty awesome.
very nice.
I recommend them. $25 on Amazon. I think.
Really?
Yeah,
Are they plugged into something?
Not
I'll be
right
the
now.
judge of that.
They sound great though.
All right. Well, I'll judge it later.
All right.
He really
we'll,
does
We'll
have a-
continue this in the second half of the
like-
show. I've got plenty more to go
It's like an
through
archaeological dig.
of technology.
It really
Oh, and-
is.
Yeah, and John, watch out! That chair, the left hand arm on that chair is going to fall out on you.
I'm sorry.
Actually, I glued it.
Oh, you glued it again?
I glued it
Okay.
again. And we'll-
Okay.
And he
All right.
sniffs. He sniffed some of the glue.
John's not a chair leaner.
Which
Dan?
part of the chair should I not? lean
You're
on?
looking extra bald tonight. It's because of all the headroom above you on the camera.
Is that what it is?
No, it's because you're completely bald.
No,
It could be that. Wait, let me raise the chair a little bit. There we go. How's that?
that's actually a lot better.
When I see your head, it makes me want to chalk a cue.
Oh, the people are sitting there listening and watching our show going, what on earth is going on?
We're
But
having
anyway,
we're having a good time.
We didn't tell everybody this is the alcohol show, did we?
And there's no alcohol, please. Not with my gallbladder.
Vodka.
Coffee.
man, I was at a bar mitzvah last night. Our table was hammered.
Really?
This was like all my best friends. We're always so laid back and quiet and like, all right.
That's why they have entertainment for the kids
And
at
that's
a bar mitzvah, so that the parents can go to the side and just get hammered.
Exactly.
And that they did at this one, which is actually kind of unusual here in Buffalo. We just like to get hammered around the kids. Anyway.
Just don't hammer the kids.
Yeah. We got lots of interesting industry news going on this week. And there was tonight is the Emmys. Don't watch the Emmys until we're done, by the way.
TiVo.
TiVo. Yeah,
Because you want to
the
TiVo
Emmys.
about an hour and a half. You want a buffer. You want to
Exactly.
TiVo that son of a gun for about an hour and a half. And then you want to go back later and then watch all the commercials that you did voiceover on and record those.
Or didn't get the audition for, so you can eat your heart out.
Yeah.
Aleve. This is Mary.
Exactly.
Mary starts her day off with 2 Aleves. And I can't stand that campaign I didn't get. But the Emmys tonight, Modern Family. It's the Modern Family show. First 4 they got. So there you go.
Dan, you were saying?
Never watched it. Anyway, no, but we had a couple of our friends were actually nominated for Emmys. Not that we'll know about it at tonight's show, but
Right. From the Schmemmies.
the Schmemmies.
Last
That's
week,
right.
the Creative Arts Emmys were handed out, and there's a voiceover category, and two of our voiceover solid citizens and good friends to people all across America, Maurice LaMarche and Bob Bergen, were nominated for Emmys. Bob for the Looney Tunes show, which is awesome, and Bob, of course, is awesome, and Maurice LaMarche for Futurama, and he won. Maurice got the Emmy.
Wow.
And what's amazing about Maurice is that not only can he do all of these character voices, and the best Orson Welles ever is, the brain, and, it's just sort of been his, major stock and trade aside from all the character voices. But he's also the voice of Lexus. So
he is?
Yeah. You didn't know this? Oh, yeah.
No.
That quiet, professorial, whispery, yet strong voice for every Lexus television commercial for the last 3 years has been Maurice LaMarche.
Wow. And I was wondering who that was.
That's Maurice LaMarche.
Wow.
Yeah. He rocks.
He does rock, and he drives a Lexus.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah. Well, I just did some work for Toyota, and I was saying...
cool.
And you don't drive a Toyota.
I don't drive a Toyota, and they said yet.
That's right. That's the key word. You always have to tag that on.
But, the Emmys, it's great that we have a voiceover category for the Emmys, and we're proud of Maurice and Bob, proud to be nominated, and, of course, very gracious. We've all seen his postings, but I was at the home of a couple of animation producers named John and Patty, and they had a piano, and on their piano were 2 Emmys. And I thought, someday, if I work hard enough, if I try hard enough, I will get a piano. Emmys, I don't know.
You mean pianos or Emmy stands?
Just a piano.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll get an Emmy, but they're really sharp, too. They have, it's that big
have you been
woman.
Hit by one?
No, but they have.
Oh,
no,
you mean like
they have
these
wings on it.
Yeah, they have these
stick in your jaw.
Pointy wings, and I'm always afraid somebody's going to puncture or impale themselves on stage.
We've gone jaundice again.
No, that's me and my gallbladder.
Oh, okay. Let me see if I can fix it. Ta-da!
It's picking up the yellow of my liver.
That's some seriously high-tech camera system we got here.
Yeah, so congratulations to Maurice and to Bob for being nominated, and we're just proud to be in the same business as you both.
Yeah. No kidding.
All right. Well, we've wasted 20 minutes here. No, actually, it was pretty important. Tell you what, I think it's time we take a break, and I've got there's something I want to talk about with John and George about some industry stuff. So stay tuned. We'll be right back here on East West Audio Body Shop.
In the modern world of voiceover, whether you've got years of experience or you're a newbie, having a home studio is essential. A home studio is a unique environment. Every voice is different. Every room is different. Advice from friends is great, but you need someone with the experience of setting up hundreds of home voiceover studios. I'm Dan Leonard, the home studio master. Let me show you the best place in your home to set up, the right equipment, and how to properly use recording software. Plus, I troubleshoot your home studio nightmares. Wherever in the world you are, having a home studio is essential, but that doesn't mean you have to be a recording engineer. Let me show you how easy it is. Go to homestudiomaster.com or email me at homestudiomaster@verizon.net. I guarantee results. In the modern world...
And welcome back to East West Audio Body Shop. Dan Leonard here in the East, George Whittam in the West, and just to the south of him is John Taylor, joining us live in studio tonight.
Nice to be here.
Yes, it's great to have you. One of the interesting things, I read the forums a lot, and maybe it's because I've become much more productive and get my work done a lot faster. One of the things that I've seen a lot of commentary on and a lot of people asking, and it comes in various forms, people saying, why don't I get jobs on this peer-to-peer network? And, I've sent in 1 million auditions and stuff like that. What's wrong with that peer-to-peer network? What does it take to really succeed in this business? John, you're very, very successful. My business is doing just fabulous right now. And a lot of our friends are doing very well. And then there's people who are struggling to get into it. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme, kids.
No, that's for sure.
So you want to know the secrets?
No, I don't
I'm
want
going to give that up. I don't think so.
It's no secret, actually.
Yeah, here's the secret. Here it is. You can only do two things in this business: be useful and charming. And useful means that you supply what people are looking for and they need. And sometimes they don't know what that is. Charming, if you have to ask what charming is, you don't know how to be it. So be even more useful. So just be excellent. And I think it comes down to just perseverance. And somebody, I'm always on the Facebook. Somebody put up something on a quote that was, I thought, really important. And it was, you can get a lot of people that are going to give you, good reviews, but you really do grow from the criticism. So it's important to find people that are not going to blow smoke up your ass.
Yep.
And who are going to say, you know what? Here's the deal. I didn't buy that part of your demo. It's not real, or you're not fooling me, and you're not going to fool somebody who's in that business. So I deal with a lot of people who are friends, and some are just acquaintances. They say, will you listen to my demo? I'll only listen to the demo over the phone in real time together. I won't listen to it and write a bunch of notes. I'm going to hear it for the first time like a producer, like somebody who is a buyer. And I'm going to judge it as quickly as they do, because you only get 10 seconds, or maybe 5. And so I give them the gut reaction. And I find that it's very helpful to those people, because you're giving them the real deal. You don't
That's right.
You're not thinking about it, and you're not couching it with, and you say, do you want the truth, or do you just want, people to, give you adulation? I love adulation. I've been sick this last week, so I've been like, sympathy.
It's one thing when
Bring it here. Love me.
Yeah, invite it in, and you ask.
No, I've been
for
like,
it.
oh, I got a bad gallbladder. It's killing me. Everybody's like, we love you, John. We love your gallbladder. And it's like, great, thank you. You lift me up. I appreciate it. But if it's a demo, if it's something you're working on, you really want people that are going to tell you the unvarnished truth. And I have had my heroes, some of my heroes, big time people that I just wanted so much love from, so much approval, who've said, you might want to cut that out of there. Right? Maybe it's a little too much of kind of stuff that you don't need to put in there. Just, make it what you do best, not what you do mediocre. I've had people like that, and it's like gold.
Yeah, it's what you leave on the cutting room floor, right? I mean, we all watch low-budget films where it was obviously edited by the director, and, you need that completely unbiased, neutral person to, help you cut out the stuff that's not the top 5 percentile.
And coaching is really important. I don't sell the coaching.
Indeed.
But I know a lot of coaches, and there are coaches that have given me varying amounts of, take it to the bank kind of information. But I got to say, every single one of them, I've gotten enough value out of what I put out money-wise to justify it. And it may not have been just from that coach. It could have been seeing what they did to help somebody else and have that aha moment along with another person. So
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of demos, and people usually, they're not asking, in my line of work, they're not asking, how's my read? Although I go, yeah, well, it sounds great, but, I generally don't try not to do too much critiquing on, somebody's vocal technique, because you can tell, and John, you know this, and George, you know this, and I think a lot of people in our audience realize you can tell basically when they just do the slate of their name, if they can handle it. It's sometimes if you sound like you're reading it, you've got a lot of work to do. There was somebody that wrote in today, says, it was asking, it was somebody who wanted to start really fresh. I think he must have been an IRS agent or something like that, and he wanted to get into the business, and I can't remember. A couple of people jumped in on it, and I simply said, look, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. You want to survive in this business, you have to love it. It has to be part of your soul. You've got to learn how to act. It's not something you can say, I think I'll be a voice actor. if you haven't been an actor already, if you haven't been involved in the vocal arts at all, it's a real uphill battle. And most of the people who are, who listen to our show and watch us here, they've had a little bit of experience and they know what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. If you're new and you're tuning in, it's not going to happen overnight. You've got years ahead of you. They can be wonderful years. They can also be a lot of years of eating mac and cheese, so don't quit your day job. But for the most part, unless you are magnificently talented, and so do a lot of people who audition for American Idol, and we all know what they sound like, seriously consider this business only after you've taught yourself a little bit about it before you even delve into it.
That's right.
That's a good point. If you look at the top, the Emmy Award nominees for the Schmemmy I shouldn't even downplay it. It's a great thing to have, right. the category. The Emmy for voiceover. All of the people that were nominated, aside from Bob Bergen and Maurice LaMarche, all of them were seasoned on camera and on stage actors with a body of work lasting decades.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Yep.
And so acting is paramount. And it's also Columbia and MGM and Disney.
Yeah,
but it's all about the acting. And so if you if you can act, then the vocal technique is just window dressing.
Yep.
Yeah, I just came from one of those people that we're talking about. Her house last week, Allison Janney.
Oh yeah.
She just doesn't feel like driving over the hill to go to William Morris. So
Brilliant.
Slapped a USB mic in her office.
Brilliant actress.
A good USB mic, I hope. Well, what did you put in Allison Janney's?
Yeah, tell us.
I put the AT20. No, I didn't.
What
Actually,
did you put in?
I put the Shure PG42 in there.
The PG42.
I like that because you can plug a headphone in and get
Yep.
real-time monitor, and she's actually kind of used to doing that.
Yeah.
So it's actually a really good sounding microphone too. It's very low noise.
Anything else about Allison Janney's house you'd like to tell us? Does she have?
Yeah, really. Yeah.
It's very modest and tucked up in a little canyon in Studio City area, and
Awesome.
it's just real quiet and very comfortable. And
But she's an actress.
she has a hard busting it out there,
And she's been in a
working
lot of
an
stuff
actress,
lately.
and she's been in a lot of stuff, but she wants more. She wants more voice work because she said something to the effect of, it's like the best kind of work.
Oh yeah.
Well, because on camera is hurry up and wait, and the makeup and the costumes and the fittings and blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of BS involved in that. And plus, for an actress of a certain age, and we know that Allison is above the age of 30, and so of a certain age, roles, you're not the ingenue anymore. You're not the girl next door. And things kind of get a little more lean for the roles with your age range.
Sure.
But your voice can play a lot of different ranges. If you look at the range of things that people that are in their 60s are doing, they can play lots of different age ranges.
Oh, I only got 4 years. All right, great. Yeah. Well, no, 6 years. My math is terrible. See, you start to age, and the math skills just fall out one ear. Anyway, the first time I heard Allison Janney do one was for the American Association of Architects. Anyone remember that one?
No.
It was like, wow, that's Allison Janney. Wow, more competition.
Is it something about are voice actors better at recognizing voices?
Oh, I can
Because
pick
I
them
was
out.
never that good at it. I'm getting better though now.
Oh, I drive my wife nuts with that. I go, who is that?
Yeah,
The Mercedes commercial. Oh, it's John Hamm. Don't you reckon? Wait a second. There's Honda. Who is it? Kevin Spacey. I can
that's
pick
right.
them out. And Jeff Bridges is there for Hyundai. And but you listen when these commercials come on. Listen to how real these guys sound.
Because they're playing themselves.
Exactly.
They bought them. There is, you don't see the dude.
Doing Hyundai, yeah.
He does Hyundai.
Hey, drive Hyundai.
Yeah, but no, I mean the character, the dude
Right.
was. What was
I know. Big
Jeff
Lebowski.
Bridges.
Jeff Bridges. Yeah.
That's-
Yeah,
Big
but I mean
Lebowski.
but the dude isn't very far off of Jeff Bridges. It is a character, but it's still him. You don't see you didn't see him like in La Cage aux Folles, he's not. You don't see him doing Russian accents, and you don't see him. It's not like you'd never see Daniel Day-Lewis landing one of these big accounts because you don't know what he sounds like.
Yeah, he's a chameleon.
He's a chameleon. You have not heard Robin Williams land one of these things because the Robin Williams voice is really not. He's going off in different tangents in character a lot of the time, not really presenting him. Mm-hmm. But these people present themselves, in the role of, and so they're kind of brands already. Yeah. So maybe part of the thing is figure out a way to be the best possible you that you can be and sell that. Well, I'm not, the Toyota thing that I did recently was kind of a breakthrough. The new 2012 Camry, nice little move. But what I brought to that was like a shadow of the goofball that you see here. I mean, really, it was the new 2012 Toyota Camry. It's ready. Are you? That's it. It's like a sliver of John.
Days, right?
What? Yeah.
That seems to be what they want these days.
How they figured out that I was the guy, I don't know, but that's what I gave them because that's what they want. So figure out what you can bring to it and be the best you can be. I don't know if the new 2012 Toyota Camry is really all I can be, but it was good enough for them.
That's right. You never know what it is that's going to be that thing that's good enough for that client, that casting
That's
agent.
right. Well, we've got to move on into another realms of like the technical stuff because that's why you guys show up here, isn't it? You can all
say
we
like
yes.
stuff. Look,
no, but I mean this
shiny.
is fun though too. This is the stuff we really want to talk about this season because it's important for people to understand more than just the technical stuff because the technical stuff is really, really, really easy.
I got a power strip that plugs into itself.
Get out.
Cool.
This is a perpetual motion energy generating device. So when you plug it into itself, it generates electricity to power itself.
Wow.
And then you can plug a USB thing into it, and it'll charge your phone right off by plugging. No, I'm actually kidding. It just does that so that you can
look at what we have here. We have an idiot detector, and if you run it over and it lights up, it's an idiot. Oh, look. Yep.
Definitely.
Whoa, you blinded me.
No.
Jeez. Okay.
Let's see if it really worked.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Dan.
That's okay. Here's what we're going to do.
I love you, George.
You did,
Yes.
John.
We're going to take a break here at the bottom of the hour here. All right. It's a little past the bottom. That's a broadcaster. Bottom of the hour. Dan Friedman will be joining us in just a couple of minutes, so stay tuned. We'll be right back here on East West Audio Body Shop.
Internship or residency program must lead to a degree.
And we're back here on East West Audio Body Shop. Wonderful to be with you on another Sunday night. Hey, what else were you going to do tonight? All right. Oh, watch the Emmys? Not yet. Not going to happen.
Who are you wearing?
Who am I wearing?
That's the question they always ask on the red carpet.
Charter Oak.
Who are you wearing?
Ron John, I think. Ron John Surf Shop. Anyway, we have our next special guest on. John, you can stay there on the couch and you can be part of this.
I'll move over.
Yes.
Is it going to be Charo?
Coochie coochie. No, it's our good friend Dan Friedman. And, Dan's a very experienced engineer. He's been over at Procom Studios for the last 10 years. He's an engineer and producer, does voiceover work too. Nothing more important than a guy who does voiceover who actually understands the engineering. Not a lot of people out there do. Fortunately, it's something I enjoy doing, the engineering part of it, but the acting is still a heck of a lot more fun. The engineering is like, anyway. But Dan recently wrote a book about a year ago, been selling very well, called Sound Advice Voiceover from an Audio Engineer's Perspective. And welcoming tonight from Asheville, North Carolina, Dan Friedman. Welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. This is fun.
Pleasure having you. So how did you drift into doing voiceover if you were an engineer? Or were you in radio or what?
I actually was in radio for about 4 years. I went ahead and I did. I worked for 3 rock radio stations. I didn't do a whole lot of on-air until my last year, actually. The last year that I was there, I started doing the local music show, and of course, I was working with bands, so it was kind of a natural fit. And then, yeah, I did some radio, and then I managed a studio that specialized in telephony and voiceover kind of stuff. Not so much commercial work, though.
Thank you for calling.
And then once I got to exactly. Once I got to meet a few voice talent, then I started getting involved with them and talking to them about the business, and then I took some workshops, and that's how it all got started.
That's great. So do you have your own home studio, or do you work on do you do your stuff out of Procom, or do you have both?
Well, actually, I can audition from home once in a while, and my kids actually both do voiceover as well, so they can do auditions here. But generally, my work is really out of Procom.
Here's a question. This is John
Yes.
Taylor chiming in.
Go, John.
Here's the question. How is it important for people that are around the country that are not necessarily in New York or Los Angeles, how important is it for them to aspire to have ISDN?
Oh, good question.
I think currently it's still pretty important.
Why?
Well, because for right now the internet methods such as Source Connect are just not reliable enough. And in a case like my studio, we have 7 control rooms.
Mm-hmm.
So to have the kind of bandwidth we would need 7 separate internet connections and T1 lines and all of that to make that work. Otherwise, we just would be reducing bandwidth every time somebody jumped on it. So therefore, we still really need that. And we're a very busy studio, so that's why ISDN is still where it's at for us.
I know it's a bit of a chicken before the egg, which comes first type of thing, but when a talent are always asking when do they get ISDN and why, and I always say when your agent tells you to. I mean, is that close enough to the right answer, or I don't know. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, when we add people to our roster, we are careful to tell them, if you don't have ISDN, don't get it just for us. Make sure that you're doing a volume of work where where other studios can benefit from it as well, or you as a talent can benefit from it as well. Simply because we have close to 200 voice talent, and they are not all busy all the time. So therefore, we can't necessarily justify the entire cost for them, but hopefully we can certainly justify some of it.
Mm-hmm. Good answer.
That works for me.
What percentage of people that you have, and you don't have to really boil it down to a number, but does everybody who is ISDN equipped, do they all have it at their house, or do some of them have it at a radio station they might work at, or do they have a studio that they can go to? Because I know I don't have ISDN, but here in LA, there's so many empty studios that the times that I've needed it, I just call up Voice Tracks West, and it's like, yeah, we got one. Come on in.
Sure.
So it's worked out, but does it have to be, is there a way to sort of ease onto that ISDN highway, or do you have to have it in your house?
Yeah, one of the reasons it's really helpful to have it in your house is simply because of scheduling. Oftentimes we need people to be ready in 10 minutes. I need you on, I need you to do this revision. Client needs you immediately. Well, if the studio is, a few miles away, even if it's a few miles away, I guess you guys, of course, here in Asheville, when people complain about traffic, I kind of laugh because, having been in Tampa and Atlanta and other big cities, traffic can certainly be a problem, even if something is, several miles, just a few miles away. In LA, I'm sure you guys experience that same problem.
Everything's an hour.
So it's largely scheduling that we really want people to have it in their house, and also cost. I mean, if you're doing a live audition, which a lot of our talent do like to do live auditions, simply so we can direct them, bettering their chances of getting a job because they've got the second set of ears. That's another reason to have ISDN to be available, basically immediately.
Yep. 12 minutes from anywhere here in Buffalo. Fortunately, if I need it, I got a studio I can run off to. Dan, you just wrote a great book. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Asheville too. Everything is close here. I always laugh when people complain about traffic and all because it's just it's so easy to get around here, really.
Yeah. Now you wrote sound advice voiceover from an audio engineer's perspective, and I remember leafing through it when you met at FAFCon in last spring, and we get together again this weekend too. I can't wait. Could be a fun time.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think we better start talking about how we're going to pull this off.
Oh, yeah, if you only knew.
As a matter of fact, the equipment I'm on tonight is what we will be using to put that together next week. So
it's not Dan's fault that he sounds like he's on a phone. He actually is on a phone on my end tonight because the last minute my other computer that I use for Skype is taking a dirt nap or something. So I don't know. So he's actually on my cell phone, which is then patched in through this thing called Adapter 2. And then that goes into the console.
This is show business. Could we not pull the curtain back, Wizard of Oz, to show the spit and chewing gum that's holding?
Show him the Hydra, George.
I love to show him how the sausage is made.
It ain't pretty.
That's what I told him.
Really, the show must, right?
It ain't pretty.
Right?
Well, I just want people to know it's like the reason Dan would normally be sounding at the same level with the rest of us if it wasn't for my last minute kludge. But anyway, please go continue.
Yeah. I mean, we guarantee quality sound on this show, and we try to get it any time. But what prompted you to sit down and spend a few months of your life actually writing a book, and what kind of content is in there?
Well, it's actually, I never had any intention of writing a book. When it first came about, basically somebody just said, you should write a book, and then I kind of laughed it off, and then it happened again soon after. And then I started to, I was a journalism major as my first major in college. So I started to think, maybe I could actually go ahead and do that. And I realized that there was no other, really no other book out there that was written specifically for voice talent about engineering. And spoken to them in a way that they can understand, because there's so many talent who are they're literally afraid of their equipment. It's kind of funny. So I thought I'd try and provide that for them.
What kind of reaction you had from it? I know a lot of people think it's a great book, and it's an interesting perspective to look at it from an engineer's point of view. Because I asked before, do you have a home studio?
I do have a home studio, and I actually I started doing music here, because I still love doing music when I get a chance, but I can pick and choose now the type of projects that I do. And I largely work for friends and people that I, just enjoy spending time with, because music projects are certainly very involved and can often take months. So that's generally what I do here at home. But I can do voiceover work here as well if need be. But I like having both. And I like what I do that much that I really enjoy having both. I just love doing what I do. I really do. I'm very passionate about it. Very passionate about it.
Do you go into a lot about processing and stuff like that in your book? A lot of people ask questions about, how do I process it? It's like, unless, my attitude is if you don't know what it is, you don't need it. But what kind of stuff, kind of advice you give in there?
No, I agree with you 100%. I go into the book a little bit about, I tried to touch a little bit on everything engineering-wise, just things that people, they do ask about EQ and they do ask about compression. And I believe I mentioned in there that, for the vast majority of people, if you're really just, it's client dependent. If you're sending out audio, there's a good chance that they don't want it processed. I know I don't. If somebody's sending me audio, I don't want it processed because you may not know what the final production is going to involve. You may not know what the music is, what context everything is going to sit in, especially if it's going to be somewhat creative sound design where there's going to be an environment that you're going to be in, or dialogue or things like that. So, the less processing, the better in general. But there are also people who need to know a little bit about those things and how to implement them properly, simply because the client may ask for that. They may ask, can you make it? Can you sweeten it up for me?
That leads into my question, actually. What's the protocol for a voice talent to understand when it's time to do it, lay it on or sweeten things up? How does that conversation start? Is it always up to the client to ask, or how does that work?
I think the talent should take some responsibility in asking if they are sent, but don't ask if you don't know how to do it. If you're not confident,
really.
If you're not confident in your ability with it, then you certainly shouldn't be asking, if they need that done. But often the client will tell you, if that's the sort of thing that they need done. And if you don't know how to do it, then certainly, send it to somebody who you trust, who can do that for you.
Sure.
That could be me, that could be George, it could be Dan Leonard, I'm sure, or any number of guys out there who are, really good in production. Production is certainly largely my focus these days. I'm not doing nearly as many install type work or building studios for people, although I will get involved in that. I don't do that nearly as much as I did, several years ago, when I was coming out of radio. And now at Procom, I've been there a long time, so my focus is largely on production and talent, direction, and coaching a little bit, and that sort of thing.
One time, there was a seminar that George and I gave to producers at a radio network on Adobe Audition. And they originally asked me to do it, and I brought George along because people would ask I knew people would ask specific questions about why is this true? What is the audio engineering theory behind it? My answer would normally be, well, it's magic. George, what does that mean? Tell everybody. So do you do that in your book? Because I haven't read the book yet, but do you sort of break down some of the terms that come up and just sort of explain them to people that don't have engineering degrees like George?
Well, it would be very funny if I could come up with all the colloquial terms. What is the magic? Can you tweak this? Those sorts of things. But I do go into compression, and I do go into EQ, and a little bit about normalization, and those types of things. A little bit about reverb, but when you start getting into reverb and environments and things like that, that is definitely production kind of stuff, and you really don't You really don't need most of that unless you're doing final production on certain things. And largely, at that point, music is included. And so, but EQ and compression are certainly things that, that talent should at least be somewhat aware of, I think.
Right.
Even if they don't use it all the time, they should certainly be aware of it, because it happens to everybody's voice at some point, and almost every production goes through some sort of process like that.
Actually, Mike Summers got a question about how much production that you're expected to do. I mean, if it becomes, to the point where you're really wearing the producer's hat here and you're really creating a package, shouldn't the client pay for that? Isn't there a certain point where the client really should be paying for the service?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The client should be paying for the service and studio time. No question. Yeah. And, again, it's not a service you should offer if you're not familiar with how to do it.
Absolutely.
And also don't forget, in production too, there's a lot of investment there, because if you're doing production, generally you might own a sound effects library or some music libraries, and there's costs involved with that. So it's not something you can really give away.
Really. And the thing is how much are we actually asked to do production? Now, as an engineer, where you're producing finished product, clearly an agency comes to you and says, produce this, you've got to do it. But the average voice talent, unless they really have done that type of work before. I mean, you and I were in radio, and we understood what it was to, of course, I remember doing it with, holding the record queued up, and then the cart machine, and doing it all, rehearsing it a couple of times.
Needle drop. The needle drop production.
That's right.
Nestled in the hills of North Carolina.
Yes, exactly.
Everything's nestled.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people really. They're gonna have to learn years of skills to really do that. So, although digital recording does make it a little easier,
it takes years to train your ears to use a lot of these, audio functions properly. It really does take years of listening, and that's the one thing that I stress to all voice talent, and this is a performance issue as well. If you really learn to use your ears, you will become a better talent, and you will be able to perform better and give better deliveries and in better interpretations. And it really is a lot about using your ears, and I think that a lot of talent go into it expecting that the voice is the only important thing. But I think, certainly since working as a talent myself, I feel like I'm in a coaching session almost every day and have been for 10 years, because I get to listen to hundreds of different voice talent work in different, work in different styles, work in different, do different performances, try and communicate in different ways. And that's really what we're doing, is we're communicators as voice talent. We're communicating a message, either what's written on the page, yes, but also what's between the lines. What's the feeling? What's the emotion behind this message that we're trying to communicate? We're trying to get people to, feel a certain way. That's what this is really.
What's the one thing that gets in the way of that? What's the noise in the channel that you see over and over from voice talent that kind of sabotages that? Maybe not so much the acting, but on a technical level, what is the problem that you see that sort of recurs?
Fear of their gear. I actually feel that. I actually do feel that is a huge limitation, is to be afraid of the tools that you're using. Because certainly if you get to session time, if you're right up against the wall and you're starting a session, it's supposed to start at 10 and it's 10:01 and you're having a problem with anything in your studio, and it's often very minor. But if you can't even communicate with the person let's say we're going ISDN and a session is about to start, and if I'm trying to communicate with a talent to try and solve their problem, and they can't even understand what it is that I'm trying to help them with. They're saying, well, the red knob is, this, and well, okay, well, what's the red knob? Okay. I think fear gets in the way a lot of times. So I think it's really helpful for people to understand what it is that's going on with their equipment. And that's really why I wrote, and I tried to write it in a style that people who are afraid of their equipment can understand. So even looking in the catalog, you see all kinds of specs and, THD, total harmonic distortion of this, that, and the other.
Who cares?
Don't care about that. They don't. They just don't want. They don't care about it, and they don't really want to know. They just want to know, does this sound good? And really, when it comes to anything involving gear, you just have to try things and continue to try things. And if it makes an improvement, it's better. If it doesn't, then pass on that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be, and it shouldn't be. And the other thing I was going to say earlier when we were talking about EQ and compression and things like that is, if you start out with gear that sounds great, then there's less of all that other stuff that has to even go on. If you've got a great sounding room, a great sounding preamp, and a great sounding mic, and you can deliver and communicate the message, there's a good chance I may not have to do any compression or any EQ, or very light. That's why you go for the best gear you can afford at all times, and that will grow with you as your career grows. You don't have to start out the best, but it certainly is very helpful to, to always strive to just sound the best.
Absolutely. Well, Danny, go ahead. Finish up there.
Yeah.
Get your last thought in.
At any stage of the game, wherever it is that you're at.
Absolutely. So if they want your book, where can they obtain it?
You can go to my blog and my website, sound4vo.com, and there is a book page there.
It's up on the screen now, Dan. I know you may not see it, but
Yep.
I have it up on the screen for everybody.
Yep, sound4vo.com. There's a book page there, and it will actually take you. There's several links there that'll take you right to the publisher's page, and you can buy it right from there. That's the best place.
Awesome.
Excellent. All right. Well, it's been
thank you guys so much.
Oh, no problem. It's been great having you on, and we want to have you on again, but maybe have you on as a guest engineer with us so we can help solve some problems. So remember, guys, if you got problems, call in our number. George, what's the number?
This was a dream team tonight, guys. Come on.
Was.
You're sleeping.
Yeah, really.
It's 818-47-EWABS or 818-47-3.
Give me that. The number to call is 818-473-9227. 818-473-9227.
Thank you. Very good. All righty. Well, thanks for being with us. Looking forward to seeing you again at FAFCon this weekend.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it, and I guess we'll all be together again really next week.
Y'all give a group hug to Amy Snively.
Will do.
Please.
Yeah.
If she doesn't come running after us and hugging all of us.
That's true, too.
Anyway, we'll be back. We've got bad audio of the week if we can find some, but right now we have to do our live spot. Yeah, we have to talk about our good friend in the north of Illinois, in Chicago, our good friend Harlan Hogan, and his wonderful website that has all this great equipment that Dan was talking about. If you want the best, if you want to be your best, you got to have the best. Best place to go to find that stuff, the stuff that matters, not have all huge selections and stuff like that. You want to go to voiceoveressentials.com, voiceoveressentials.com, where you can look at all the simplistic stuff that Harlan can offer you over there. They've got, of course, the new Harlan Hogan Portabooth Pro 2, which is a great device that can work as a home studio as well as, taking all your stuff on the road. Why you guys want to go on the road, I don't know. But if you have to, you need a Portabooth Pro. And the VO1A microphone, which I've been recommending to a lot of people. That's a great microphone. Have you played around with it at all, George?
I've played around with it. More than that, I've actually installed them in a lot of studios. And really been incredibly impressed with it. I think I may still have a sample where I do a shootout between that and a, of all things, a U87. And just, why and why not? I was in a studio. We had both. Yeah, sure, it sounds different, but I'll tell you, it's really a hard mic to go wrong with when you're trying to figure out what should be that first mic to start with, and you've already got a USB or some sort of preamp or something to plug a mic into. Right. This thing is pretty much a no-brainer. I'd say it's going to work really well on about 90% of the voices out there.
Yeah. So if you want to find stuff easily, he's got books, he's got the VO1A, he's got MicPort Pro, he's got all sorts of stuff. Go to voiceoveressentials.com, go through the list of all the stuff he has, and if you think you need it, that's the best place to get it.
Mm-hmm. Everybody needs one of these things, man. A voiceover recording sign.
I love that.
Thing's custom.
I have mine. It's over there. But
that is awesome. I want one of those.
Wicked awesome.
Wait, that's my word today. I'm sorry. We have some awesome things coming up in the next few. You got FAFCOM next weekend, but you're going to be in where? Pennsylvania?
I'm going to be. Well, I'm not going to. It's kind of crazy, but I'm not going to be at FAFCON.
No.
I'm going to be holding down the fort here, and Dan's going to actually. The Dans are going to be doing EWABs at FAFCON, and I'm going to be recording it and re-airing it. It's going to be an interesting little act. But then
we've got poker next Saturday
night. Poker night at the same
Joe
time.
Cipriano's house. It's the one time a year he actually turns the electric fence down to simmer on his compound and lets me in.
I think you can
release
the hounds. There's still probably available seats at the poker tables.
I think so. You can. I believe you can check out Joe Cipriano. You're probably already friends with him on Facebook. sagfoundation.org. The page, and you can get buy a seat at a poker table for $250, and it gives you $1,000 of money and prizes to play with. And you can also, if you're not a poker player, for I think it's $125, you tax deductible. You can buy yourself just into the party, and just to see Joe Cipriano, just to see how he lives in his grotto. It's just it's a great house.
And if you're not lucky enough to be able to go, I'm going to be, because I wanted to do more things this weekend on top of a three day event that I'm also doing the production on. This is insane.
You are insane.
I'm going to be there, you streaming it live at the event, and then walking around with different people who are going to volunteer to do a handheld
I'll
mic.
volunteer.
Are you going to be there?
Of course I'll be there. I wouldn't miss that for the world.
You're going to grab a handheld mic, and I'm going to walk around with a roving camera streaming live to Ustream from the event. So if you can't be there in the flesh, then you can tune in to Ustream. I'll make sure everybody knows what the link is, but it will be on SAG Foundation's website too.
Yeah, sagfoundation.org. You can find Don LaFontaine Voiceover Lab. Buy your tickets for that. It's tax deductible. After that, in October, we've got Joan Baker coming for That's Voiceover in October. I think it's the
October 6th.
And that's going to be a big dealio, and we love having. Well, Joan's probably going to be at Joe's anyway, right? I hope
so. I don't know.
We need something.
I'm definitely
going
to be at. Oh man,
she is glamorous.
I'm going to be at That's Voiceover with the Whisper Room booth this time around.
Nice.
I'm actually going to put the thing together for them when it gets shipped there.
Really?
And then,
can I help?
Do you really want to help?
I have a whisper room. I call it my upright coffin.
Yeah.
I'm a big Whisper Room fan.
Yeah, we're gonna have one there on the show floor, and I'm gonna be hanging out there for the duration. So, but yeah, if you want to come and hang out and watch me turn 2,000 screws,
I can turn a few myself.
No, I'll be using screws.
Come on, I'm in Hollywood. I really know how to screw. In this business, kid, that's the first thing you learn.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
Right.
I think it's time to really screw somebody right now. Do we have any bad audio of the week? You got anything in the archives?
Oh man. Do I ever? I know I got something good out here. Let me while you guys read this That's Voiceover webpage.
All right.
And see who the guests are that are going to be on.
Okay, so we got
I'm going to dig around.
That's the talk show host lady next to Joan, right? That's what's
this one here?
Yeah, that's
that's one of my clients. Oh no, she's gonna kill me because I can't
Rolanda Watts.
Rolanda Watts.
Yeah, of course, it's Rolanda, and there's Joan
Louise.
Baker on the front, and top. There's Rudy, and there's Valerie Smaldon. Is that Cedering Fox and Joe Sip, and look at that face.
And Nancy Wolfson.
We love our Bill Ratner. There he is. There's Joe and Bill Ratner. Move over.
This is a cool website.
There she is, Vanessa Gilbert. She is awesome.
Yeah.
Agent from TGMD.
Stu.
We got Stu Turner. And we got, who is that?
Carol Kimball.
I don't know Carol. So
She's a casting director.
Oh, well, I'm going to know.
her.
Hi, Carol. I'm John.
Shoulder
Nice
up
to
to
meet
her.
you. You know, the last time I was at Joe Cipriano's, the kickoff before it was the big fundraiser for the voiceover lab, and it was a great night.
Yeah.
I was standing waiting for my car in Joe Sip's driveway. They had a valet, and I was waiting for my car that leaks oil to be brought up. And I'm talking to this stunning blonde lady and her husband, and they were just so cool. And I was like, "So how do you know Joe?" She goes, "Oh, I'm a executive producer of promos at CBS." And I was like,
Oh.
and I was like, "Oh, did you have a good time tonight?" Thought I'd do a little audition on the driveway. And then, of course, my car pulled up. Kind of ruined the illusion.
Well, here's a bad audio of the week.
All right.
Okay.
This one's interesting because we don't know what it is that's wrong.
Okay.
So maybe this could be really helpful because maybe
What do you mean you don't know what's wrong?
we don't know what's wrong. Literally. So I'm gonna. Let me drop it in here and let me
Do
see
we know
if I
who
can.
it's from?
What's going on? What's going on now? What's going on now? Let's try now. Trying again. All right, I'm trying this again. So I don't know what's so strange. Something strange is going on with the sound. It sounds almost as if it's through a long, faraway tube with machines. I don't know. Strange, strange, strange.
So what do you guys think?
Well, I couldn't hear it all that well. What I did hear,
Yeah.
it sort of sounded like that record you'd hear at camp. It's one of those old
Scratchy and
speaker
hissy.
screechy things. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was thin. It almost sounded like it was over the phone, but
Wasn't it bizarre? I mean, the thing is, she's in a good booth. I think she's in a vocalbooth.com booth. She's got a Mac. She's got an Apogee 1. And I think she has a 416 if memory serves. I mean, it never has sounded worse. All of a sudden,
Shouldn't sound like that.
She comes back from a trip, and this is the results she was getting. And I told her, I was like, "Hey, Apogee is in L.A. Why don't you freaking go over there and hey guys," because I said, mic cable maybe
RF.
Well, I could hear the RF interference. I mean, I could hear the computer. Mike thinks that Mike Summer in the chat room thinks it might be the mic itself. Which there's not too many things to go wrong in that system.
In a 416? Yeah.
No, I've heard 416s fail.
Yeah.
Amazingly, I mean, I think it's probably because the odds are with so many people using them, I'm going to see a few go down.
Right.
But I have seen a few fail. And if she had another mic, I would have had her swap it out immediately.
Right.
It never hurts. I mean, a lot of us only have one mic, one interface. But if you can squirrel away the funds, have a backup mic. Just a $200, $300 mic.
Or call a friend who has a mic and bring it over and bring your cable.
Yeah.
Because switching out the cable is a good
I know.
fix
All those
too.
things can make a difference. I feel like, why didn't I just tell her to do the basics? Go try a different mic. But it was one of those things where it seemed like the least obvious thing that could be wrong. But sometimes that's the way it goes with troubleshooting. You got to try everything. You never ignore a USB cable too. Man, just having a bad USB cable just is a nightmare.
yeah, that's why they give one with everything you buy, and then you end up with billions of new USB cables sitting in a drawer somewhere. Like, all right, I'll just pull out another one.
Yeah, and it's also not a good idea to extend your the cabling from microphone to computer
right
by long USB. It's better to have a 10-foot
That's the
shielded
longest.
cable.
Yeah.
That's a microphone cable to the box rather than
Yeah.
a long USB to get the box into your booth.
Absolutely
or
right.
far
Absolutely.
away.
Very good advice.
Well, I can't imagine that I was technical today.
Wow.
I feel so technical that I knew what RF was. I'm learning from you people.
Well, Mike, I'm going to give you credit for that. I'm going to drop a line to Carol. Hopefully she's, had somebody, waltz in there and tell her, hey, it's your Mike.
She's a brilliant voice artist,
Yeah.
great singer.
And she's an awesome singer. Like,
Yeah,
here, I have her CD on my desk.
and dancer, Brazilian.
And a Brazilian dancer.
Yeah.
And she speaks Brazilian.
There isn't no language called Brazilian. It's called Portuguese.
That side of the CD is just as good.
Hey,
I love Brazilian music. Great
Me
stuff.
too. It's fantastic. I love the beat, the drum beat. Hey, Ella, come in here.
no. No, don't have her come in here. I just saw her. She needs to be covered.
Yeah, so
naked.
I think that's the way it is over at
Nude
George's
position.
house.
I think she needs to be taken for a walk.
She's been bouncing off the walls.
Yeah, you need
I
to-
think Amy's about to
Yeah.
put her outside on
Yep.
a leash.
Yep. Love you, Ella. Cover that up.
Love you, sweetie. All right.
I,
With that, I think,
think
it's a good time to.
Thanks,
call it a
guys,
night.
for having me. It was fun to be here as always.
John, always a pleasure having you. And next week, we'll be at FAFCon. Well, I'll be at FAFCon, and Dan Friedman will be there, and 148 other people. And we're going to should be a lot of fun. I think we're going to format it almost like Phil Donahue, as much as I dislike Phil Donahue. But we're going to be a multicam setup. It'll be like an actual TV show. Maybe.
Maybe.
We'll see how it all works out. We're gonna have a lot
Or
of chefs.
cable, or some sort of cable access disaster. Somewhere in between those two.
Well, that's why people watch NASCAR. It's for the crashes.
That's true.
So, come on.
Right.
You guys, you live on the edge and people know something's going to happen and it won't always be pretty.
I know. You never know what's going to happen. I can't wait to see it.
Yes. And on that note, thanks again, John. Appreciate you being there.
Pleasure.
Coming out of your sick bed, and you are feeling better, though.
You would never know this man has been sick for the last week.
I have
He
not
is-
gotten out of the house except for ultrasounds.
He's been saving it up just for our show.
going to be a girl or a gallstone.
Yes.
One or the other. I'm hoping
Yeah.
for a puppy.
Well, those are always nice to have.
Yeah.
Anyway, we will see you next week, same time, same internet channel, whatever they want to call these things. We haven't figured that one out yet. Next week at FAFCon, and then we're going to be on every week, I think almost until December.
Yeah, we may have a holiday. Well, I don't know when Thanksgiving is this year, but
It's usually
other than being on a-
November.
Thursday.
Okay, everybody, say it together.
He'll get a vegan turkey.
Yeah, But,
Always on a Thursday.
we know Thanksgiving won't interfere. I think we probably will be on every Sunday till the holidays. Then Christmas and New Year's are both on Sundays this year, and then whatever other holidays for our Jewish friends.
Yeah,
Like Dan?
I don't think they're actually going to cover a Sunday this year. They're all on Fridays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and Saturdays, and it's over by sunset.
Hey,
Not a
fantastic!
problem. So anyway, I'm Dan Leonard in the East,
I'm George, and this is
John Taylor.
in the West.
and all together we are
East West Audio Body Shop.
Have a great week. We'll see you next week.